Okay, and we're back in this episode. Last time we made the disappearing platform, and the time before that we made the moving platform, and now what I want to do is fill this area up with like fireballs and spikes. So this episode, we're going to go over how to make fireballs and spikes. First things first, let's make a spike, because that's easy. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for a cone, and remember, what I'll do is I'll replace these later. So in our blueprints folder, let's make another folder called environmental. And inside of that, I'm going to make another folder called spikes, just in case I want to have different kinds. Right click inside of your spikes folder and make a new actor, and we're going to call this one spikes underscore BP. Open up that, add a static mesh, or you can add a cone really. You just add the cone straight in. Okay, cool. Compile. Then you want to add a sphere collision or a box collision. Depends on how you want to do your game. Okay. So there's my little sphere collision, and this is what's going to be the part that hurts the player. So if the player gets on that, then they're going to get hurt. And I do a sphere because of the shape of the cone. Like I said, you could do a box too if you want to. Alright, while that's selected, come into your event graph and scroll all the way down to the right and say on component begin overlap. And the other actor is third person character. Okay, and then we want to get health, current health. And what we want to do is we can either say a set number for this health, or we can take off a percentage. So for me, I'm going to say a set number, because I just wanted to take away 50% of the health, because the spikes are not fun. So minus just 50 period, and then we're going to set the health, set current health. Cool. So it's going to subtract 50 from the current health and set the current health as whatever that would be. Then we need to make a branch, because if this is less than or equal to 0, then what we want to do is we want to set the current health to 0. So set the current health to 0. And if it's false, do nothing. Cool. So whenever the player overlaps that, that's what's going to happen there. Oh, I didn't hook up this target to the player. So whenever the player overlaps that sphere, it's going to lose 50% of their health. Alright? Cool. So this is a spike. And we've got the spike, and we can just put it in our level now. So now, if she does fall in certain areas, she'll fall on a spike. And just to make it look cooler, look, we can do this. Go into your spike BP and go to your cone and give it a material, like a metal. Let's make it look a little cooler. Compile, save. Alright, so there's my spikes. And I'll put them right there. Good. Okay, so we made the spikes now. We need to make some fireballs. So there's either two kinds we can make. We can make them coming out the lava, or we can make them coming out of the walls. So for this episode, and probably, I mean, it's the same code, so we can make it come from anywhere, but I'm going to put it coming out of the lava for this episode, and then probably in one of my design episodes, I'm going to make the fireballs come out the wall. So, back in your environmental folder, make a new folder and call it fireball. Inside of that, we're going to make another actor. So right click blueprint class actor fireball underscore BP. Okay, for this one, all we need is a sphere. So get a sphere. Then we need a particle. So type in particle system, and that's the one you want. For the particle system, you want to get a fire. So now you got your ball on fire. And you can make the particle system a little bit bigger. Oh, not that. This particle system, sorry. There we go. Compile, save. And the ball, let's make it another color. Kind of like, I know there's like a glow. Let's find this glow purple and make a glow red. So right click on that, duplicate it, and we're gonna call it glow red. Underscore matte for material. And all we're gonna do is change that color from pink to red or orangish. Just like to make it fire. Save that. And then the next thing that we need to add onto our fireball is a projectile movement. So projectile movement. Bow. Okay. So this should be good. So we've got the particle system. We've got that. We need to change the color. I forgot to change it to glow red. Sorry. There we go. Compile, save. Now go to your projectile movement. And we want it to come not in the X direction. We want it to shoot up in the Z direction. So on your velocity, change that X to a 0 and then the Y to a 1. That way we know it's going to be shooting up. Okay. Now, this is going to be cool because, like I said, you can make this come out the walls, or you can make this do anything. All you got to do is change the velocity. This is the X, this is the Y, this is the Z. So let's make these lava balls that shoot to the ceiling right now. So compile and save. Pretty much, oh, we can do some other things, some gravity. Here we go. Turn the gravity scale off, because we don't want that. So find the gravity scale. If you can't find it, type over here, gravity scale, and turn it to 0, not 1. 1 means it's going to fall back down to the earth. We don't want that. Unless you do want that. I want mine to just shoot straight up through the ceiling. I just want it to keep on going up. And then the initial speed and max speed is how fast it's going to go. So I'm going to say mine is going to be about 1800, pretty quick. I might have to slow that down, but let's go ahead and test that out. Oh, you know what you need a sphere collision, sorry. And then we're done. So once that sphere collision is on there, make sure it covers the whole thing, the whole fireball. There we go. I want the fire to hit you too. Okay, compile and save. Now with that sphere selected, we're going to go to the event graph and scroll all the way down, and we're going to write the similar code. So other actor is going to be third person character, and what we're going to do is we're going to get their current health, and then we're going to subtract. So the fireball, well, the spikes do 50, the fireball is going to do 25. And then we're going to set the current health. And then after that, we need to make a branch and check that. So if this is less than or equal to 0, then what we need to do is put a branch, hold B and left click. Then we'll say set the current health to 0. So copy, paste, set the current health to 0. Target is the player. Compile and save. And now you've got a fireball that should shoot up when the game starts. So let's see this. And if this doesn't work, like if this goes too fast, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to create a spawner, and that's gonna be fun. So, I mean, that's probably what we're gonna have to do. I just want to show y'all that it works a little bit. So go to your environmental folder, content, third person, blueprints, environmental, and fireball. Get your fireball out. You can make it smaller, bigger, whatever you want to do. But let's see. Let's make it smaller here. And on begin play, it should shoot up. So let's just go ahead and simulate it. We don't have to play. So simulate. Okay. Yeah, so it did it very, very fast, guys. I don't know if you can see it when I press play, but watch. Whew, it went up really fast. All right, so here's how we're gonna do this. I'm thinking that we can just we'll make a spawner for these little fireballs here. So here we go. So instead of putting the fireball in your level, what we'll do is we'll say that we want to spawn the fireball when the player does something. So let's make a trigger box, I suppose, because what we want to do is when they are in the trigger box, spawn the fireball. So let's make the fireball come from here. And when they this is gonna be hard because when they jump into this trigger box, this platform is going to disappear, but we can also spawn the fireballs from here too. But since maybe you didn't follow along last time, so I'll make a whole brand new blueprint for it. So here we go. So get your place actors and put out a trigger box. And this box is going to be the box that makes the fireballs come up. So anytime you step into this area right here, then the fireballs will be spawned. Okay. So here's what we'll do. With that box selected, make it into a blueprint by clicking this button, and then we'll put it into our blueprints folder. So third person, blueprints. And what is this for the trigger? So we can actually put this in the environmental folder inside of our fireball folder, to be honest. And we'll call it the fireball trigger. Alright, now that you got that, let's open it. Let's put some code in here. First thing we want to do is add a scene component though. This is going to be where our fireball spawns from. And I'm going to put this down. Compile, save. Now, with the trigger box selected, we're going to go into the event graph and event overlap. So third person character again. And when they overlap it, we want to spawn actor from class. The actor that you want to spawn from class is your fireball, BP. And the transform, this is what we have to do. We have to make a transform. So we're going to get the scene component. And we're going to, we can actually get, I believe it's going to be world location because it's not a, we're not moving the component. So get location. Location. If I could spell, it probably would be right? So here's the get world location. We could do that. We can make a transform. Make transform. And we could hook that on up. So location is broken down into there. The rotation's good, scale's good. Alright. Compile, save. And then we can delay and spawn another one. Delay like 5 seconds or 3 seconds, and then just do it again. Loop it right back around. If you double click on your line, you can do this and make it more clean. Cool, so let's see if that actually works. When you go through that fireball trigger, the fireballs are supposed to get spawned. Let's test it out. And then I'm going to change mine back to the selected viewport. Alright, so she's got the spikes there. Ah! So the fireballs are coming up. Let's change the scene component here. Take 10% damage. Okay, that's coming from the lava. No worries. Alright, so with the trigger box, find your scene component and move that to where you want the fireballs to spawn from. I want mine to spawn in front here. So right there. And then also for the projectile motion of the fireball, projectile movement, let's slow it down a bit, like to 1,000. Save. And let's test it out one last time here. And let's make sure everything is working. Okay, so she's riding it, she's riding it. Oh gosh. And so now, whenever you step on that, like those fireballs are automatically going to keep coming up. Another thing we can do is we can change the size of the fireball here. Mine's a little bit too big. I'm going to shrink it down just a bit. So my sphere, shrink it down just a bit. There we go. Say compile and save, and now we've got fireballs coming up. And we can add, more of them if you wanted to put more scene components. There you can just add more fireballs, but for now I'm happy with this one fireball and our spikes. I'm gonna test it out again. Cool. When I do the actual polish of the game, I'm gonna make them the timing a little bit better. But other than that, I think that's really cool. We got fireballs coming up out the lava. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can add effects and all this kind of stuff to it. But that's all I wanted to show y'all in this episode. We got fireballs and spikes. So I'll holler at you on the next one. Peace.